Hey guys, Mike here. So, oh boy, what a day in the market for small caps that is. And we'll go into Tom Lee's latest prediction on small caps he put out yesterday. And oh boy, is it a doozy, let me tell you. And nobody hopes he's more right than me, but we'll see how that goes. I'm also going to Tesla and Google's earnings. They just reported. We'll look at the charts. Also talk about Elon Musk, because people are flipping out about the $45 million he, promised Donald Trump to donate monthly and all that stuff. I'll tell you why I think he did it. Let's see if you disagree or not. Also, we'll talk about where the money's still going. But I did want to start with this right here just to get your opinion. Now, this video I put out last Thursday, it says this AI robot at BlackRock runs almost everything on Wall Street. I want to know in the comments, 1, did you know about it? 2, did it surprise you if you didn't know about it? And 3, does it make a lot of sense as to why you see the market run like it run? And somebody even said, wow, it's crazy. You put that on Thursday. Mind you, I was on vacation. And next thing you know, we have this freaking tech outage or whatever it was go global. We got to do a crowd strike, of course. And of course, I said in that video, for those who hadn't seen it, I'll link it at the end, that, when that happens to Aladdin, because it happens to every platform, it's happened to Apple, it's happened to Microsoft, it's happened to Tesla. No matter who it runs, there's always glitches, right? It'll be much worse because it'll be our money. Okay, it'll be our life savings and things like that that are going to be getting affected. But that's, how it's going to go. So I just want to get your opinion and stuff, and I appreciate everybody who watched and shared the video. I really enjoyed putting that together, and I appreciate the member and the viewer who put me on that. So first, let's go into Tom Lee's latest prediction on small caps. And again, it is a doozy, so pay close attention.
In the short term, it's the political news. But really, in the longer term, especially into year end, it's actually the economic news.
Explain why.
Well, in the short term, markets are very sensitive to, especially the sector level, depending on whether it's a Republican or Democratic taking the White House in November, and then especially all the congressional elections and state elections. So I think that's what you saw last week, is as probably shifted towards Trump, small caps, industrials, financials rallied.
And you're sticking with that call, which is for what, 40% over 10 weeks?
Yeah, the overlap is small caps are very sensitive to a Fed cut, and really the probability of a Fed cut, that it's finally happening. And I think it's going to look like the October to December 2023 rally, which was almost 30%. This one should be bigger because of the amount of short positioning and the amount of oversold in the Russell. So yeah, 40% by the end of the summer.
I just want to dig into it. Does it make sense that tech, that NVIDIA and Tesla and Microsoft and Apple and Meta should be outperforming as the odds rise for a Democratic victory?
Some of that, it's, day to day, it can be noise, because last week you had the biggest down week for the NASDAQ in quite a long time. So I think there is a bit of a dead cat bounce. But to me, I agree with you. I don't think that the FANGs are necessarily a Kamala Harris, taking the White House trade. The sell-off for the Russell started in the middle of last week. It's down almost 5%. It is a mirror image of what happened in October. After that first week rally, you had a 5% decline over 8 trading days, and then you had essentially a 25% rally for 7 weeks without a drawdown. I'm not sure that's any different today.
Is your long-standing optimism about deflation really changing at all? Do you expect any surprises on Friday?
One print can be uncertain, but I think the forces underway for inflation to fall like a rock are in place. The reality is there's a durables recession. It's in housing, and now it's in autos. That's like 60% of the CPI basket is in a decline until the Fed really injects confidence by cutting. And so I think there is urgency for Fed cuts to happen sooner. But at the same time, I think the effect on inflation is there isn't another incremental driver for new inflation. So inflation, I think, is going to surprise to the downside, and hopefully it's Friday.
Now, when you're looking at this, obviously that 40% includes the rally we've already had, but it still will be up quite a bit here. And you can see we finally got back on track today, because after this big move up, shocker, people took profits. You had some selling off and everything. And looking at different time frames here, this is the hourly. You can kind of see momentum indicators like your MACD, your RSI and stuff. On the shorter term time frames, as long as we stay above that little moving average on the RSI, stay above 0 on the MACD and stuff, that is a good thing. I mean, there's not going to be pullbacks and all this other fun stuff. And then when we go up, sitting there, let's go to the 4-hour time frame. You can kind of see we fell below the moving average, trying to get back above it on the RSI, had a bearish MACD cross on the 4-hour right there. And again, what you don't want to see on the 4-hour especially is a lower high. You want to see this break that prior high on the daily. You can see right here, though, we're above the moving average. It depends on where you're at on this. And everything looks pretty good. But again, it's been a big move, right? Big move up and some very uncertain stuff going on. And so this is not going to be straight up, especially since it's small caps. And you're just going to have to see if we can break back above that previous high we just set and rush to all-time highs. But of course, where is money flowing into? Well, over the last week, you saw here once again, large caps, woohoo, $22 billion still being rushed into those puppies. Shocker there. Small caps did get $5.81 billion, which is a lot for small caps. You also see bonds, right, going in. Why? Rate cuts, okay? So if rate cuts are coming in, then obviously that's mean bonds should go up since they have an inverse relationship. It was funny to see TLT weaker today while IWM was rolling, but those don't always correlate. If you pull them up together, you'll see when you see these big rallies in IWM, TLT is not really moving. It's just because more money is just flowing into small caps because you can get more bang for your buck, right? But usually, probably 85% of the time, maybe when I look at the chart, they are going together, but with TLT is a way smaller gain you're getting on that, okay? But if the rate cuts are supposed to happen, should help small caps and TLT, bonds, things like that, assuming it is a soft landing, but just a narrative of, oh, there's going to be rate cuts. Remember, that's what I tell you, you don't need rate cuts in the short term to see these stocks and TLT and bonds go up or anything. And then once we get there, if it don't happen, they'll just reprice the whole thing. That's how it works, okay? Now, when it comes to Tesla, obviously they just reported earnings. But the one thing people are flipping out about, I was on vacation, I think this got announced. It was the $45 million Elon Musk said he's going to give to Donald Trump's campaign every month. But you got to stop and ask yourself, one, what is Elon Musk? He's a businessman. He has multiple companies, okay? Two, when did he make this pledge? Did he make it before that debacle of a debate? Before all these calls after that debacle debate started calling for the president to step down? No, he did not. He did it after all that because he understands when an incumbent steps down, an incumbent has a huge advantage going into it just by name recognition. Why is that? Because half the country don't follow politics. They don't care anything about it. Probably God knows how many belong to a party, right? So all they do is walk in the voters booth and they go, Republican, Democrat, right? All they walk in and go, I recognize the name, sounds good. That's it. They pay no attention. That's why we have elected in our country multiple dead people. We've elected people in prison to serve terms in usually city and state legislatures, that kind of stuff. And so that's why, right? And so he understands the odds of Republicans winning went up when this happened, okay? And so he understands what? He has to be in the room, okay? How do you get in the room? Money, money, money! Okay, I've said it many times, and Elon Musk has gone through this before. You know I'm not an Elon bro, by the way. I've been trashed by them. But I've said before, and I did a whole video on this, when he was trying to get, Tesla to be what it is today, he was hitting a brick wall. Before what? He started writing checks. Money, money, money! And he started bribing our politicians legally. In each state he had to go to do this. And he started suing the governments and everything in jurisdictions. That's what Tesla started taking off. It didn't take off before that. Okay, that's just the way it is. Unfortunately, in our country, that's the way it works. Because in our country, as we know, everything's political. Okay, energy is also political. Republicans, oil, natural gas, Democrats, we got to get rid of oil and natural gas and go with alternative energy, whatever, God forbid we get a politician who says, we need it all. What? We need oil and natural gas and alternative? Yes. Yes, because each area of the country is different. Texas has a lot of oil, right? You can run wind turbines in New Mexico and Arizona. You sure ain't going to put them where I'm at. We ain't drilling for oil here in Florida, right? But you got to have all that stuff, right, to be able to run what we want to run. But again, everything's so political. So what's he trying to do? He's trying to get his foot in the door. He was in Trump's first term and he resigned in 2017 because he wasn't getting listened to, okay? But he also understands EVs need what? They need credits. They need tax credits. They need incentives for people to buy them. And second of all, he has a space company. Guess who gets more contracts as a space startup by a country mile than any of the rest of them? SpaceX. What's the number one revenue generator for SpaceX? Starlink. Who can stop him from putting those satellites in space? A new president, his administration, if they really want to. All right, so he's not dumb. That's why he's trying to bet on the winning horse, and he's trying to get his foot in the door to keep those companies generating money. And that's just the way it is, folks. Please let me know in the bottom if you disagree. That's what it is, okay? Now, getting into the earnings here, you can see, obviously, I don't think we expect anything good, right? I mean, so they missed EPS. Nobody really cares about that. The biggest thing, we surprised about this. said it earned $1.5 billion in the second quarter of the year on revenue $25.5 billion. In the second quarter of 2023, Tesla made $2.7 billion and revenue of $24.9 billion. But the bigger thing is the profit margin. Oh my goodness, 6.3% versus 9.6% in the same period a year ago. So obviously we know margins profit margin continue to shrink, which is not a good thing. You look over here, the sales obviously fell 4.8% in the second quarter. And so it's high rates that are causing this stuff, right? These cars aren't cheap. It's like any other car, but it is what it is. I mean, I don't think anybody's surprised about that. And that's why this run up has been strictly on AI, right? AI, robotaxi, the robots, all this fun stuff. And when you look at it, I mean, when it first reported, obviously it dropped, then recovered a lot. As I'm recording this, it's dropping back down. Right, this right here, the ETH down in the corner. See ETH, that's extended trading hours. You got to be able to see that. If we go to RTH, we'll see what that trend line is. Because I've always said, as long as you hold the trend line, should be okay. And when we go to RTH, you can see right around. You zoom out here and go to the daily. The price you want to be looking for somewhere around like 230.89, 231, somewhere in there. The lowest it's gotten so far is 233. It's already bounced off that trend line about a week ago before I went on vacation. So that's the key right there. You break that, then you can be looking at lower. Okay, so just keep that in mind. And it's not about the after hours, it's about how we close tomorrow. So keep that in mind. Now, of course, Alphabet was different. They come in, they have a double beat and stuff, which is great, and all that good stuff. They're following an after hours after the call, because usually the call is what it's all about. Tesla and Google have had these huge run-ups, okay? And so you have to be priced to perfection, man, if you're going to continue up. So it shouldn't be that big a surprise. But again, you can see revenue rose right there, sales 11%, revenue grew 14%, and then revenue from cloud computing, which is the big one, that grew 28.8%, which is a good thing. I will say this, their ad revenue actually decreased, and so from the previous quarter, so that's a big one to watch out for, okay? And so, and I can say, being a YouTuber, I already knew that was going to come in. Before they even reported, I knew it was going to come in, all right? So, because I know all about that good stuff. But, when you look at the chart, if we continue to drop, so far this area is held right there. I shaded out weeks ago for you between 174, 177. That's what you need to hold. If that doesn't hold, look at that trend line right there beneath that to hold. If that doesn't hold, then that gap to the left is going to get filled. All right. If all of a sudden tomorrow we open up again, don't worry about the after hour stuff. It's about what's going to happen tomorrow. And so if we move up, look for 190 maybe to get captured. But again, moving down, that shaded area right there between 174, 177, if that breaks, that trend line, the trend line breaks, the gap right below to the left. That's what you're looking for. See this right here, that trend line? So that was support, resistance, all that good stuff. So those are things to watch out for. And we know how they like to have their fun in after hours. So these are the traders playing around, all that fun stuff. Now, speaking of another big cap here, you can look at Amazon. When you look at Amazon, obviously it's been getting crushed, unlike all the rest of them. Had a big move up day, thought it was going to capture that 50 moving average, did not, got rejected right here in this area, which I was telling members about, between like 188, 191. Going to be a tough area to get through, and that trend line right above is really key. It's still holding the 100 moving average right now, but it has to break that ascending trend line. Okay, I mean, again, double-digit drop in a very short amount of time will get people's attention. Jeff Bezos selling just billions of dollars worth of stock, or billions, excuse me, to pay for a football team somebody was telling me about. But, when you look at it, again, that ascending trend line, which was support going back, that is going to be key. I won't be surprised if it gets rejected right there. Well, that surprised me a bit. May even need some kind of news to gap it above it. But again, if it comes down, maybe grab some liquidity right there in that fair value gap and then get above it. That could possibly happen. Of course, the other scenario is this shaded area between like 171, 176 right there if it continues to go down. Now, earnings, AT&T, Chipotle, I think I said it right this time, Ford, ServiceNow, IBM, Sands. We'll see if we're actually still gambling. And then, of course, tomorrow we finally get some kind of red folder news with Flash Manufacturing PMI, Flash Services PMI, not red folder news, but new home sales, crude oil inventories to watch out for as well. And so we should have some kind of volatility going on, but just watch and see how Tesla and Google react at the open, and more importantly, how they close, especially for the whole week. That's really going to tell us something, because these are the first two big mega caps out the gates to report, and so we wanted to see how it's going to look. I hadn't heard the call from Google yet. Obviously, I had the beat, but it's really all about the call and the guidance and stuff. And a lot of this, you see, this sell-off after hours has got to do with the big moves up too. Okay, that's the other big thing. So if Elon, keeps talking about robotaxi, which we know has been delayed. And I'm actually going to come out with you guys with some videos because, believe it or not, I stepped outside my comfort zone. My wife and I said, okay, let's give it a try. So we rode Waymo 5 times in San Francisco, arrived safely. We really enjoyed it. But I got I'm surprised they actually allowed me to film in the car. But I filmed in the car and I can show you what it's seeing and everything. It's pretty cool. I got to admit that. But I'm going to have some details on when it comes to this robo-taxi thing for you. You may agree or disagree with, but I'm going to bring facts with mine. So we'll see how that goes. So anyway, please hit that like and subscribe button on your way out. Really appreciate it. Think about sharing the video. Want to sign up for the membership, get more detailed member videos. You can do that as well as a morning news brief every morning with everything you can imagine in it. So anyway, see you guys tomorrow.